In the late 1990s, theme parks were locked in an arms race. They wanted bigger rides, faster rides, more immersive experiences. And in 1999, when Universal opened Islands of Adventure, one attraction instantly separated itself from everything else in the park and even in the world. This wasn't just a normal roller coaster. It was two roller coasters in one, racing, fighting, nearly colliding in midair. This was Dueling Dragons, and for almost 2 whole decades, it became one of the most intense, ambitious, and talked about coasters ever built. But like many legends, its story didn't quite end the way that fans would hope. To understand why Dueling Dragons mattered so much, you have to understand the moment that it was built in. In the late 1990s, Universal wanted to challenge Disney directly, not just with movies, but with theme parks that felt more thrilling, more extreme, and more adult-like. Islands of Adventure was Universal's answer. Instead of a traditional theme park layout, it was divided into immersive islands, each with its own theme, story, and headline attraction, mainly based around IPs. But this island would be different from the rest, making it the only original island with no IP. In this medieval fantasy land, the Lost Continent, Universal wanted something unforgettable. Their solution was simple: an insane 2 inverted roller coaster that would race each other from the start to finish. Universal partnered with legendary coaster manufacturer Bolliger & Mabillard, often considered the gold standard of roller coaster engineering. But this project pushed them even further into new territory. Dueling Dragons would be the first inverted dueling roller coaster in the world. Riders would hang beneath the track, feet dangling, and as 2 separate trains launched almost simultaneously, one themed to fire and the other to ice. The tracks were carefully designed to create multiple near-miss moments where riders felt like they were seconds away from colliding. The timing had to be exactly perfect. The choreography had to be exact. If even one train was delayed by a few seconds, the illusion could be broken. When Dueling Dragons opened in 1999, riders had to choose between 2 sides. The Fire Dragon, officially named the Chinese Fireball, featured intense inversions and aggressive twists. The Ice Dragon, known as the Hungarian Horntail, focused more on speed and sweeping maneuvers. But the real magic wasn't choosing the sides, it was the racing. As the 2 trains climbed the lift hill together, riders would be able to see the opposing train just feet away. Then, as they dropped, the real duel began. Multiple times during the ride, the trains would appear to narrowly miss out on each other. Unlike many coasters of this era, Dueling Dragons wasn't just about the thrills. It had a great story. The queue took guests through a ruined medieval castle, filled with banners, stonework, and lore hinting at an ancient rivalry between 2 powerful dragons. This level of storytelling helped to set the standard for modern theme park attractions, where rides weren't just rides, they were experiences. Especially with being the only original work of this whole new theme park, in many ways, Dueling Dragons helped pave the way for what Universal would later perfect with fully immersive lands. As thrilling as this dueling aspect was, it came with a serious downside. Riders would begin ignoring loose article rules, and when objects were dropped, they could fly into the path of the opposing train. Unfortunately, during the summer of 2011, there were 2 accidents, which one was very serious, caused by what is believed to be loose objects hitting a rider while riding the roller coaster. The most serious accident involved the rider being struck in the eye by an object, causing injuries which required the removal of his whole eye. On the same day of that incident, Universal Studios announced that the coasters would not duel until an investigation was complete. For 2 months, the coasters were dispatched separately, and in mid-October 2011, Universal made the decision to turn off the dueling aspect of the ride permanently. Without any explanation of what caused the injuries, no further injuries were reported after this. With many incidents being reported, safety concerns grew rapidly. In 2011, Universal made a major decision. Dueling Dragons would no longer duel. The ride would still operate, but no longer at the same time. For many fans, this marked the beginning of the real end. In April of 2015, metal detectors were permanently installed as a fixture to the entrance, and security officers with metal detecting wands were employed. The attraction enacted a zero-tolerance policy for cell phones, wallets, coins, watches, cameras, or even any other loose objects. All riders were required to completely empty their pockets before their boarding. Guests in violation would be sent back to their lockers or possibly even ejected from the park without a refund. The queue was themed as a ruined castle where the fire and ice dragons would live. The queue passed through dungeons with human skeletons, torches, and cobwebs. To ride fire, guests would have to go left, while riders wanting to ride ice would have to go right at the intersection point that was famously Choose Thy Fate. With Universal Studios Orlando officially announcing its partnership with Warner Bros. Studio to bring Harry Potter to its official theme parks on May 31st of 2007, this deal led to the opening of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Islands of Adventure on June 18, 2010, which would ultimately end up replacing the Dueling Dragons roller coaster. Although Dueling Dragons wasn't closed in 2010, to fit the new land, Dueling Dragons was rethemed into Dragon's Challenge. The coasters were now named after dragons from the Tri-Wizard Tournament, and Harry Potter references were added throughout the queue. But while the theming changed, the ride experience, now without the dueling, felt like a shadow of its former self. In 2017, Universal officially announced the Dragon Challenge would close permanently. On September 4th, 2017, the riders took their last final flight, and shortly after, the demolition began. For many fans, watching the tracks come down was very emotional. This ride wasn't just being removed, it was the end of a very important era. Replacing Dueling Dragons, Universal built one of the most ambitious attractions it has ever attempted, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Unlike Dueling Dragons, Hagrid's focuses on storytelling, launches, and animatronics rather than extreme intensity. It features multiple launches, a backwards section, a drop track, and one of the longest coaster layouts in Florida. Even though it's completely different in style, it carries forward the Dueling Dragon legacy of innovation, pushing what theme park rides actually can be. Even though Dueling Dragons may be gone, its impact still remains. It proved that coasters could tell stories, it proved that thrills and immersion could coexist. It also remains one of the boldest, most ambitious rides Universal has ever attempted. For those who rode it at its peak, nothing has quite replaced the feeling of two dragons racing toward each other in the sky. A part of what keeps Dueling Dragons alive in fans' memories is that it represents something that we don't really see much anymore. Modern theme park rides are a lot safer, more controlled, and more story-driven, but they're rarely unpredictable. Dueling Dragons felt pretty dangerous. You could hear the other train screaming past you, you could also see it coming straight at you. And for a split second, your brain believed that you were actually about to collide. That raw intensity created a real connection between the riders. And that's why, even today, fans still rank it among Universal's greatest attractions of all time. Even multiple years after its closure, Dueling Dragons continues to influence how theme parks around the world think about thrill rides. Before 1999, most roller coasters focused on a single idea: speed, height, and inversions. Dueling Dragons introduced something different: pure interaction. It wasn't just about what your train was doing, it was about what the other train was doing at that exact same moment. This idea of synchronized motion and near-miss moments inspired future attractions across the industry, from racing coasters to dueling water rides. Even though many parks have attempted dueling coasters since, very few have actually matched the intensity or the precision that Dueling Dragons actually pulled off. This ride also helped solidify Universal's reputation as the thrill-focused alternative to Disney, pushing boundaries in a way that felt bold, risky, and very unapologetic. With the most recent comparison that I can personally think of that really highlights how ahead of time Dueling Dragons was is Stardust Racers that just opened at Universal's new theme park, Epic Universe. The dual launch racing coaster opened at Universal's new park, and on paper, the two rides share a similar idea. Two separate coaster tracks designed to race side by side, but in execution they represent two completely different eras of theme park design. The fact that Universal went bold and decided to go this way for their main roller coaster in this brand new theme park that so many people have been waiting for just really shows that people actually really enjoy this type of ride. Having actually been on Stardust Racers, I can really feel the energy with the dual launch system, and I really wish that I could have gotten to experience it on the Dueling Dragons roller coaster. Surrounding the passion from diehard Universal fans from this beloved attraction, they did something very bold and risky, but it was something that the fans had really been wanting. On July 28th of 2023, Universal Studios Orlando announced that they would be featuring a haunted house based on the legacy of the Islands of Adventure attraction, Dueling Dragons. For Halloween Horror Nights 32, the house would take place before the events of the ride, and would feature two warlocks, Pyrock and Blizzrock, being transformed into dragons and fighting until the death. This house would be very notable, as it was a feature of a split path at the end of the house, something that hasn't really been done since the Hellgate prison in 2004. The house was located in Soundstage 24 along with the Yeti Campground Kills. Soundstage 24 is one of the larger soundstage facilities designed to be used as filming locations for movies, TV shows, and even commercials. The code name for this haunted house was Pineapple because of the scales of the large dragons. What made the haunted house special wasn't just about the scares, it was the attention to very close detail. The castle design, the banners, the lore, and even the sound design all reference the original attraction. For fans, it felt like Universal was acknowledging what Dueling Dragons truly meant, not just as a ride, but as a piece of history. Many fans consider Choose Thy Fate as one of the most emotional haunted houses ever created at Halloween Horror Nights, because it wasn't based off of a movie or a franchise, it was based off of soul memories. It proved that even after the tracks were fully gone, the dragons still mattered. As the adventurers entered the final room of this haunted house where they are met with a split path with the words Choose Thy Fate. Just like in the queue for the attraction, you have the option to choose the fire or the ice path. After selecting your path, these adventurers are attacked by either a frost or fire demon, depending on the decision on their way to finding Merlin's spellbook. In one path, Pyrock or Blizzrock would appear on one final time in warlock form, holding Merlin's decapitated head to attack with their full power, having obtained all of the secrets and power found in the Merlin spellbook. while on the other path, Merlin congratulates the travelers and the protectors of the realm for saving the kingdom and completing their campaign. Knowing that this haunted house was the only real attraction that I would get to do regarding the Dueling Dragons attraction, it made me kind of sad and kind of why I wanted to make this video. I really wish that I could have ridden the attraction, and if you yourself were able to, let me know down in the comments below which side you like better, the fire side or the ice side. And let me know what you want to see next. See y'all.